Mahjoob Zweiri joins us in our studio in Doha. He's the director of the Gulf Studies Center at Qatar University. Mahjoob, it's good to have you with us. What do you make of this moment where we are in ceasefire talks? It seems like a pretty critical moment. There's going to be a war cabinet meeting this evening, which will ostensibly set the mandate for the negotiating team that is expected in Doha tomorrow. But there have been other moments where we thought, there's movement, and then those hopes have been dashed.
Correct. And since Hamas released, or what basically the news leaked about what Hamas has suggested Friday afternoon, the news came from Israel that there will be a cabinet meeting Saturday evening. And then Saturday evening, the news came actually the meeting has been postponed to Sunday or Monday. But at the same time, the Minister of War, Gallant, has called to a meeting with his security leadership, would basically talk about the Chief of the Staff and Shabak and Mossad. That meeting was happening where the demonstration was going on the street, actually. And they were listening to what's being said in the street. That meeting, I consider it an important meeting because it is a message to Netanyahu that there are other voices within Israel should be listened to, and those are the people in charge in real issues when it happened. And let's remember that Shabak director, he's the person who pushed Netanyahu to accept Palestinians to go to Al-Aqsa Mosque to avoid any kind of confrontation with the Palestinians. So he wants to say to Netanyahu, there is another perspective, you have to listen. I consider that meeting important, is a brainstorming meeting. So Gallant comes to the meeting today with the war cabinet, with ideas, with suggestions, so he can put at the table.
Gallant being the Israeli defense minister. So you're saying the security establishment in Israel has already had its meeting to essentially flesh out their position on these talks. And Gallant will kind of be their spokesperson, right? I'm following what you're saying.
Absolutely.
When he goes to the war cabinet meeting, which is sometime later today, this evening, in Israel. We know at this war cabinet meeting there are competing voices, right? There's Gallant, there's Netanyahu, there's Gantz as well. They may not have all the same views. It sounds like a pretty make or break war cabinet.
Absolutely. We already have a statement from Gantz that the government should show some flexibility, or should show some of new ideas to face this proposal by Hamas. And also we are hearing from another politician, which Gideon Saar, who basically split of National Unity Front. He was part of Gantz front, basically. He also have a strong voice now where he
wants to be added to the war cabinet.
He wants to be added to the cabinet war. He criticized the government. There is no clear direction. He said the military has no clear targets. Yesterday, he made a very interesting interview where he basically undermined everything Netanyahu has done so far. He was saying that this war basically endless, and we don't know where are we going. And that was basically, I think, a hammer on Netanyahu internally. So it's not only Gantz, it's not only Lapid. Also, there is another voice criticizing him from the political sphere itself, rather and looking at what happened in the military action, in the military front. That is more pressure on Netanyahu so far.
So again, this point that there are going to be lots of different voices at this war cabinet meeting. So the policy really is being fleshed out as we speak between now and that meeting. Something else I want to put to you. There are two meetings this evening, as I understand it. War cabinet meeting and then the wider cabinet meeting where the entire Israeli government is being asked the same question of what do we negotiate? Do we agree? Is there a deal that we could agree to with Hamas, etc.? Two levels of decision-making.
That's well planned. Netanyahu does not want to appear that he's the person who's giving concession or actually giving any kind of points to Hamas. Basically, he wanted the war cabinet to decide, come with a proposal, take it to the wider cabinet, where basically the Minister of Finance and Ben Gvir there. So that are the voices basically always supported the argument that Netanyahu has. So basically, we are expecting whether a radical voices from the cabinet or actually accepting what the war cabinet suggests to the wider cabinet. It is well planned, the plan from Netanyahu, to avoid criticism directed to him personally.
So it gives him political cover.
Absolutely.
If he gets a wider approval.
Correct. He wants a political cover. He doesn't want to go. And more importantly, we have to look at the mandate issue, because today there is an important issue.
Mandate issue, what do you mean?
I mean, giving more mandate to the negotiating team.
Yes. Setting the boundaries
Absolutely.
for the negotiating team.
Because in Paris meeting, he criticized the director of Mossad why he crossed some of the lines in previous meetings. Now they say, okay, give us the mandate until where we can move on the discussion. We are not there just to deliver a message and take a message. We want to discuss issues with details. And that's another issue should be determined tonight.
Yeah. How much negotiating power will they actually have when they come to Doha?
Correct.
This is all fascinating stuff. We'll discuss it again, but the key takeaway here is all of this is being hammered out in Israel today in the coming hours. Mahjoob Zweiri, thank you very much.
My pleasure.